Alright guys, hello, welcome back to another video lesson with Mr. C. Maybe missed me yesterday on Monday, but today we're back. So again, the plan is for the week. We learned 8.2 on Friday, we did an assignment on 8.2. We have homework on 8.1 and learned 8.1. What's going to happen today is I'm going to teach 8.3 today for like our Tuesday lesson. And then I'm not going to have any homework on it. But I am going to put kind of like a review for a quiz, and you're going to have a quiz on Wednesday on quizzes. That's on 8.1 and 8.2. I'm trying to give you today, I guess really yesterday, and tomorrow to ask questions. So I'll put kind of like a quiz review type thing. Just kind of like what kind of questions will be on there, and you guys can shoot me questions. I'm going to put this lesson up there for us to learn 8.3, so that's what we're going to do tomorrow. I'll probably just put a Google form up. I'll ask for responses as soon as possible and just kind of say like, I'm going to put a Google form up asking you like, any questions for the quiz, please ask, and I'll try to, by the end of that day, post something, so maybe the next morning one, before you can take time before you take it, you have till 7 p.m. to take it, so look that over. Our next test will be 8.1 to 8.4, that'll probably be sometime next week. Like probably middle of next week. So, properties of, 8.3, can't see the title, but it's called Special Right Triangles. You can see kind of like a pattern here. We're on a lot, I told you, we're going to get right back into triangles. So these could be special right triangles. There are going to be special rules to finding the sides, the hypotenuse, the legs and hypotenuse of these specific triangles. So okay, let's just get started, alright? So 45, 45, 90 triangles. That is one type of triangle. Meaning, if it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle, if you have a 90-degree angle here, of course add up to 180. 180 minus 90 divided by 2 is 45. The reason this is that this is also going to be an isosceles triangle. So if it's an isosceles right triangle and these two sides are congruent, that means these two angles across them are congruent, and that means 180 minus 90, and then these two are congruent. So divided by 2, I give you 45. So you get a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Makes kind of sense. Now with the legs and the hypotenuse of this special right triangle, there's going to be a special relationship. So that's going to be the key here. That's what this theorem 8.8 is. So I just kind of scroll down here. So what happens here is, if you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, they kind of show like a proof kind of it here. The two legs are congruent, so they cross from the same angle. These two sides are congruent, and the hypotenuse is this length times the square root of 2. So again, if you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, these two legs are congruent, then the third side here is the side of that leg times the square root of 2. That's going to be it. Alright? So let's jump right to example 1. So let's see how we're going to apply this kind of knowledge. And we're going to make you apply this in different ways, guys. So don't think it's like, oh, and that's just it. Alright, so I'm going to have to zoom out the picture a little bit so you can kind of see this first example. Alright? So let's do this. Let's look this up. Perfect. Alright. So, now we can zoom back in. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Alright, so in these cases, we're going to get to try these in a second, like we normally do in class. You're going to have to find x, okay? So they want you, based on the things you're given, they want you to find x. Remember the hypotenuse is always this third side, it's always like kind of long or straight. It's always my hypotenuse. So that's going to be the length of the leg times the square root of 2. So okay, when they're looking for find x here, well again, this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle because you're missing that one angle, and that would be 45. So that would mean that, alright, so we have the two legs here, we're looking for the hypotenuse, right? So, remember that x is going to be equal to the length of the legs times the square root of 2. So, in this case, since this is what I'm looking, x is here, the hypotenuse, and the two legs, this is 6, this is also going to be 6. Alright? So my height, this x, that's my hypotenuse, is going to be this length times the square root of 2. So it's just going to be 6 times the square root of 2. You don't need to actually write that in any kind of decimal form or anything like that. Just write 6 root 2, and that's it. There you go, there's my hypotenuse length. Alright? That's that one. That's where they got that. Now, letter B here, alright, again, they give you the two legs. The two congruent sides are always your legs, okay? So what you're looking for is So that means isosceles. Again, it has to be an isosceles right triangle, meaning these two have to be congruent so that these two angles across from each other are congruent. So that would they both be 45, of course, because that would be 90. And 45 plus 45, 90. So again, either you're given the two legs congruent or you're given the two angles are 45 or one of the angles at least is 45. So you know it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle because these are isosceles. It's an isosceles right triangle. So then you know that the hypotenuse here is equal to the length of the leg times root 2. Well, here's it's a little bit tricky because the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, I show you, is 2. So any square root times itself is equal to 2. And then 9 times 2, again, so it'd be not, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. 9 times 2 is 18. So x there, the hypotenuse there would be 18. The hypotenuse here is 6 root 2. Sometimes it'll have a square root in it, sometimes it won't, depending on the problem. Alright, so remember the hypotenuse is always this long part, and then you have the two legs that are always going to be congruent to each other. The two congruent sides of the legs, the one congruent sides of the hypotenuse. Alright, so now I want you guys to take a pause. I want you guys to try 1A, 1B, and 1C. And then, like you know, you'll unpause it and then we will go over them. Alright? Take a pause. And actually try it. And we will go over them in a jiffy. Alright, so welcome back from your pause, hopefully. Let me get my eraser real quick. So you got 1A, 1B, and 1C. And you have to find x. Okay, well, in 1A, because they give you that this one angle is 45, then of course if you do 90 plus 45 minus 180, the other angle is also going to be 45. So because of that, so like the angle across from this 45, they're going to be congruent. So if this is 4, that's also going to be 4. So those are going to be the two legs that are going to be congruent to each other. Alright? Now the third side, remember, x or h, as they call it in our thing, h is going to be equal to the measure of the leg, so L, I'm just going to write a capital L, times the square root of 2. They make like a cursive L. So your x here, that's x, is going to be equal to 4 times the square root of 2. And that's it, you're done. You don't have to write it in decimal form, just 4 times the square root of 2. That's it. So it's equal to the length of the leg times the square root of 2. You're done. Alright, 1B, we get a similar thing. Since these two legs are congruent, you know that these two angles are going to be congruent to each other, meaning that's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So we know that x here, it's the same thing. X is going to be equal to the length of the leg times the square root of 2. So x is just going to be 5 root 2. This is going to get trickier, don't worry. This is just the beginning. Alright. Now, from 1C, it's a little tricky. So because we have this one angle 45 and this other angle is 45, meaning that these two sides are congruent. So these are going to both, this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So I know that, again, that third side, the hypotenuse, or x, or I'm going to get out of the way, I'm going to get over this side, x is going to be equal to 7 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. That's 7 root 2, which means 7 times the square root of 2. What I would do is if I have two radicals, I would multiply those first. So root 2 times root 2 is just 2. So that becomes 7 times 2, which is then going to be 14. So again, any square root times itself is just the number under the square root. So like root 2 times root 2 is 2. Root 100 times root 100 is 100. Any short times itself. We're going to learn that. We're going to deal with that a lot in algebra again, but this is like basic remembrance of radicals and stuff. Alright? Okay, so now what we're going to do is they're going to do it backwards. Okay, so I'm actually going to do at least the first one with you. I'm going to have you try the second one. So now, instead of finding the hypotenuse, which wasn't too bad, now you're going to have to find the measure of these legs, these two congruent sides of the triangle. You're going to find the measure of the legs, alright? So that was the measure of the hypotenuse with 45, 45, 90 triangles. Again, we're also going to have 30, 60, 90 triangles, which we'll get into in a second. So now, we're going to be dealing with the same type of triangle, but now we're going to do it the opposite way. So you can also work backward. So now we're going to find the legs. Okay, so before you were given like either one measure of the legs and 45, or both measures of the legs, and then you're supposed to find this longer side. Now you're going to have to find the two shorter sides, which are going to be equal to each other. So again, they're both x. So knowing they're both x, that means they're both equal to each other. Okay, so that's your first step. All right. All right, then they kind of go through this one, all right? So you know that this length, 12, whatever it is equal to the length of the legs times the square root of 2. All right, well then you know that 12 goes here, and now we're doing that way. So we have 12, which is that measure we're looking for in the first problem, is equal to the measure of the legs, x, times the square root of 2. All right, so x is going to be equal to 12. Remember, to get x by itself, divide by square root of 2. All right. Well, maybe you learned Algebra 1. If not, you'll relearn Algebra 2, or I'm reviewing it right now. You cannot have ever a radical in the denominator. That's important. That's important for algebra. You're going to use that next year 100%. Or actually, I know I teach Algebra 2. We're going to do a bunch of stuff on radicals. So we cannot have a radical in the denominator. So what we have to do is we have to rationalize, or basically get rid of that square root at the bottom. How do we do that? How we do that is, remember, we talked about a radical times itself is the number under the radical. So we're going to rationalize it by multiplying the top and bottom by that square root. So if I ever give you a multiple choice answer and you see a square root in the denominator, you cannot have that. Get rid of it. So multiply the top and bottom by square root of 2, square root of 2. I end up with 12 times the square root of 2 over 2. Then I just divide. 12. So I have the square root of 2 here. I can't divide that by anything, but I can do 12 divided by 2. This isn't going to happen every time. But 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I get 6 square root of 2 is my 2 legs. So these are both going to be 6 square root of 2. And then again, if I multiply, that I should get 12. 6 square root of 2 is my answer. And if I do 6 square root of 2 times square root of 2, I would get square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. 6 times 2 is 12. So that makes sense. So that's how you find the legs. I want to do one more with you guys and have you guys try 2b, alright? So let's go through to 2a. Alright, so 2a, they give you your hypotenuse, that's always the longest side, is 5 square root of 2. And they give you these two are x, meaning, okay, these two are congruent. So it's going to be a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and we're going to do this. Alright, so the first thing you got to remember that, let me just move this, the hypotenuse, alright, or the h here, is equal to the legs times the square root of 2. Okay, well the measure of the legs, you can just put one of them. The measure of h, or the hypotenuse, is 5 root 2. And then the leg is going to be x root 2. The leg, you don't have to write it twice, just write it once. So the measure of the leg times the square root of 2 is equal to 5 times the square root of 2. So to get x by itself, I'm going to divide by square root of 2. Okay, this one's going to be really easy. What's going to happen here is, so when I do that, here the square root of 2 cancel, I'm just left with x. And then here, the square root of 2's also cancel, so I'm left with 5. So x is equal to 5. And that makes sense. The height equals 5 times the square root of 2. So these are both 5, and then if I do 5 times square root of 2, I get 5 square root of 2. Hypotenuse. Alright, so I want you guys to pause, try to be on your own. So again, this is 45, so the other one's going to be 45, so these two are going to be congruent. This is also going to be x. Alright. Just like the other pictures we've had, and then you have 18 as your hypotenuse, find x. So find the leg of the triangle. Alright, welcome back from your pause. Hopefully you at least gave it a shot, or at least tried it. Alright, so I'm just going to start off, you know that 18 is the hypotenuse, so you're going to do 18. This one was a little bit harder. So you have 18 equals x square root of 2. Alright? Because you know the hypotenuse is equal to whatever the leg is, and one of the measures of the legs times the square root of 2. Then I divide by root 2 on each side to get x by itself. Alright? So I'm going to just rewrite this. I get x equals 18 times the square root of 2. Okay, well we just learned in the problem above is we cannot have the square root of 2 down there. We have to rationalize. Again, how we rationalize is we multiply by root 2 over root 2. Alright, so I'm actually going to keep doing this work down here. So I get 18 square root of 2. Just keep that like that is. Root 2 times root 2. Again, any square root times itself is just a number in there, 2. Okay. Now since 18 and 2 are, this is multiplication, I can actually divide the 18 divided by 2. So I get 9 square root of 2. So my x is 9 square root of 2. That's what both the sides are. And again, try it. If I do 9 square root of 2 times square root of 2, I should get 18. And you do. So there's your, so that's finding the legs if you have the hypotenuse. Alright? So then you can use that theorem either way. And you definitely have to know how to do both. Alright. So that's that's example 2. Alright, we got one more type of triangle we're going to learn and one more problem along with it. So this lesson's not too bad, it goes pretty quick. Alright, so the last type of triangle we're going to learn today, so we learned about 45, 45, 90. There's also, like I said, 30, 60, 90. Alright, so let me pull this up a little bit so you can kind of see. A 30, 60, 90, another triangle is another special right triangle or right triangle with side lengths. Excuse me, that share a special relationship. And they talk about it, then they kind of prove it through. So this is where they kind of just go through the proof. So this is your other special type of triangle. So they kind of show you. But let's just go right to the theorem. You guys know the proofs get confusing. Let's jump right to the theorem and just kind of see what the relationship they come up with is. So this is another type of special right triangle, 30, 60, 90. So what they figure out is, alright, if I just move this down real quick. So they talk about that whole proof. They prove this. They prove that if you have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, this is going to be different, okay? Because the 45, 45, 90, there was two sides that were congruent, and then one side that was that side that was congruent times the square root of 2. So in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the length of the hypotenuse is 2 times the length of the shorter leg S, and the length of the longer leg L is root 3 times the length of the shorter leg. So this is where it gets tricky. Okay. Your original side that you're dealing with, you want to always want to try and find first, if you can, depending on the problem, we're going to go through some. You want to try and find, so 30 is always going to be the shortest length, then 60 is going to be the next longest length, and then 90 is going to be the biggest length. So it should be 30, smallest, next smallest, biggest. It should always be like that every single time. Alright, if your biggest side is where the neck across from the 30, then you're doing something wrong. And then the key is, the angle across from the 30 is like your shortest angle. That's going to be like your angle you start with. Then that side length times the square root of 3 is going to be the side length across from the 60. Then your side length across from the 90 is going to be 2 times whatever this is. So once you find the length across from the 30, or like trying to find that first, everything else kind of falls into place, and you just plug in that times the square root of 3 and that times 2. Alright? So again, 30 is like your original, that doesn't change. 60 is the side length across from the 30 times the square root of 3. Then your 90 across from the 90 angle is going to be 2 times whatever the square root from the 30. Okay? So last of a problem today, they're going to have you find x and y. So you got 2 variables you got to find in these problems, alright? So let's do this. Okay. So the acute angles of a right triangle are complementary, so the measure of the third angle is in this triangle is 90, 60, or 30. This is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. I mean, again, if you have 90 plus 60 minus 180, you should get 30. Again, all the angles in a triangle went up to 180. I think we know that by now. Alright, so let's go through this example. Okay, so we got to find x and y. Okay, well we know, make sure you know where the 30 and the 60 and 90 are. Well, the 60 is here, the 90 is here. The 30 is going to be here. Alright? So this 15 degrees, the side length 15, sorry, not 15 degrees. This side length of 15 is across from the 60. Okay, well if you look above, I don't have it on there anymore, but you know that the length across from the 60 is going to be the side length across from the 30, or x in this case. See, 30 is across from x, 60 is across from 15, 90 is across from y. So you want to try and always find the 30 first if you can. So the side across from the 30. So the 30, or x, the side across from, is going to be, so you know that, okay, the side across from the 60 degree angle is going to be the side length across from the 30 degree angle times the square root of 3. Alright? So you know that 15 is the length of the side across from the 60, and x is the side across from the 30. Alright? And that's times the square root of 3. So to find the actual length across from the 30 degree angle, we have to divide by root 3 like we did in the last problem, and then again, we cannot have the root 3, any square root, not just square root of 2, any square root in the denominator. So you rationalize like we did in the last problem, and you end up with this x is going to be, so you multiply by root 3 over root 3, that becomes 15 root 3 over 3. Then you can do 15 divided by 3 is 5 root 3. So my x there, you can't see the picture anymore, is 5 root 3. Okay, so that across from the 30 is 5 root 3. Once I have that, if you look back at your theorem, I know that the length across from 90 is going to be equal to 2 times that. So I just do y equals 2 times 5 root 3. They don't distribute that 2 in both of them. You can't multiply that 2 times what's in the square root. That's a number itself. So you're just going to multiply it by the number on the outside. So that's going to be 2 times 5 is 10, and the root 3 just kind of sticks along. So you have y is 10 root 3, so your side length across from the 90 is 10 root 3. Your side length across from the 30 is 5 root 3, and then, of course, across from the 60 is 15. If you try out those numbers, if you multiply like 5 times root 3, 10 times root 3, 10 times root 3 should be your biggest number, 5 times root 3 should be your smallest number, 15 should be in between those two. Again, should go 30, 30 is your smallest side, 60 is your next biggest, and then 90 is your biggest. Alright? Now let's see how much practice you got. So let me do one more with you. We got 3 practice problems. I'm going to do another one with you, and then I'll have you guys try the next 2. And that's all we're doing today. So nothing too crazy, I don't think. Hopefully. Alright. So 30, 60, 90. Okay, so again in 3a, you're given the side across from the 60. Okay? So you know that. Alright, and then I know the 30-degree angles here, so it's 30, 60, 90 triangle. I mean, they give you all 3 angles. So, again, I know that, so if we're crossing the 60, alright, that's in my middle side, right? That's going to be the side that's in the middle of the two, the biggest and the small side. Let's try to find what's crossing the 30 first. So remember, the side across from the 60 is going to be equal to the length of the side across from the 30 times the square root of 3. Alright? So in order to find this, I'm going to divide each side by square root of 3. Alright, so I get 12, so x, so I'm going to rewrite it like x on the other side. So I'm going to get here, x is going to be equal to 12 over root 3. And again, I cannot have that, so I'm going to multiply by root 3 over root 3 to get rid of that root 3 at the bottom. So I get 12 times the square root of 3. Root 3 times root 3 is 3. And then 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that would be 4 times the square root of 3. So I can't divide that root 3 by anything. I can divide that 12 by that 3. So my side length across from the 30 is 4 times the square root of 3. Alright? Then y there, remember what we just learned up there, what we just did here, the side across from the 90 is going to be equal to, so y is going to be equal to 2 times 4 square root of 3, which is just going to be 8 square root of 3. Remember, you're just multiplying it by the number on the outside of the radical. So I get x is 4 root 3, and y is 8 root 3. Alright, so 3b and 3c apply a few more different concepts. They're a little bit different. But see if you can try to apply stuff and try them out. See if you can find the x and y. Alright, take a pause, and then we'll be back in a second. Alright, I'll erase. Alright, welcome back. Alright, so let's try 3b and 3c. Hopefully you tried them on your own. This one actually isn't too bad. Okay, so you know that. Alright, so this is the y is the side across from the 60, x is the side across from the 30, alright? Let me just write the 30 here. And always make sure you know where the 30 is, where the 60 is, and where the 90 is. 90 is always going to be easy. 30 and 60 might be a little more tricky. Alright? Always just give you one of them. This is 30. So the side across from the 30 is x, side across from the 60 is y. Alright, so we know that the side across from the 90 is 10. So we know that from up here, right? The side across from the 90 is what they did up here. We know that, and s is kind of the side across from the 30. We know that 10 is going to be equal to 2 times x. 2 times, remember when we were doing the problem just before, we did 2 times the length across from the 30 to get the 90-degree angle. So 10 is going to be equal to 2 times whatever the 30 is. So I'm just going to divide by 2 to get x. So I get x is going to equal 5. So the side across from the 30 is 5. Once you find that, everything else falls into play. I know the side across from the 60 is the side across from the 30 times square root of 3. So y is just going to be 5 times the square root of 3. That's it. Again, from the rules. You got to use the rules above. Again, the side across from the 60 is the side across from the 30 times the square root of 3. 5 square root of 3. You can write the decimal if you want, but you don't have to, you can leave it like that. And then again, the side across from the 30 is 2 times that length though. So you say 10 is equal to 2 times whatever this side length is, which is 5. Alright. Now, 3C, we have something a little bit different. Actually, it's the easiest one. You're given the side length across from the 30. Okay? So what you do is, okay, the side across from the 60 is y. So y is going to be that side, the side across from the 30 times square root of 3. So it's going to be 21 root 3. That's all you have to do there. Nothing too crazy. That's actually the easiest one. If you're given the side length across from the 30, that's your easiest problem. Then x, side across from the 90, is going to be equal to 2 times 21, which is going to be 42. There you go. Again, not too crazy as long as you know the rules. So, again, here's the deal. So, tomorrow, what I will do is, so that's all our lesson today. You don't have a homework, you don't have like an assignment on this today. Again, I'm trying to do like a video, then then assignment the next day. But what's going to happen is, we're going to have the quiz on Wednesday. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow, is I'm posting this video. It's really you're watching this on Tuesday, but I'm doing this now. But so I'm going to post this video, and then you're going to have a little Google form. I'll give you like a review, kind of like of what's going to be on the quiz, exactly like what kind of, how I do it, number of questions, what to study. And then I'm going to kind of give you a Google form. Ask me any questions. Do that as soon as you can. I may even say do the Google form first. Once you look at the review, kind of see what you need questions on. What I will try to do is I will try to answer those questions immediately. Maybe I'll try to like write a couple problems, or maybe I'll make a quick video tomorrow and upload it as quick as I can. But I think we're going to have a quiz Wednesday on 8.1 and 8.2. You guys have it. I mean, it's been a lot of days to ask questions. I'm giving, you have your assignment today. And so I've been looking for questions, but so that'll be on Wednesday. So again, tomorrow you'll watch, today, you're going to watch this video, fill out the Google form, that's your attendance. You'll have a quiz on Wednesday, then you'll have an assignment on this on Thursday, and then we'll keep moving through to 8.4 on Friday. Alright, so guys, have a great, terrific Tuesday, and I will, please reach out to me with questions on the review if you have any questions on something you don't know how to do. I did do those questions on X, Y, Z, finding those. I won't put too many of those on there. I might put like 1 or 2. Alright, and you'll know tomorrow, as soon as possible. Have a terrific Tuesday, and good luck on your quiz on Wednesday, and you'll see me again not till Friday, actually. So, have a good day.